There are bills around to extend the energy-efficient tax credits that have worked very well for solar energy and other kinds of energy efficiency. They're about to run out. They will be extended to 2015. Now, keep in mind, that means that will be some taxes that won't come in. You know, nothing is simple. Nothing is simple. And I keep hoping that we're reaching the point where we're going to get that. But the leadership in Annapolis, and I agree with them on this too. I don't agree with them on everything. I do by a long shot, but I do agree with them on this. I, by the way, have been known to be the only Democrat in the House of Delegates who will vote against or for an issue. I choose each issue on its own. I'm willing to stand up by myself if I have to speak what I see to be the truth, but that's not the case on these issues right now. So, thank you. Thank you. There was a time when Bob Kittleman was in the legislature as a senator, and we all probably know he was a Republican, and we were on the same committee together. And the committee, one of the issues we dealt with was campaign finance. And we knew that if he and I could agree on a bill, that bill was going to come out of the committee because, you know, he was in one place and I was in another, and it was a good working relationship, although we disagreed on a lot of other issues. And that's something I think we better learn how to do. We better learn how to work with people on issues when we may disagree with them on some other issues, because if we don't learn how to do that, we're thank you, we're toast, yeah. Okay, and I don't believe we're going to be toast. So energy efficiency. There's another very interesting bill dealing with what's now called sustainable communities. And I wish Ned Tillman could be here tonight. He's the head of the Environment and Sustainability Committee for the county government, and is really becoming an expert on what does it mean to be a sustainable community. It's not just environmentally sound, it's also economically sound, and it's also human and socially sound. You know, it's the whole thing put together. So the Sustainable Communities Bill is going to take a look at that, and it will be run through several state departments, planning, but also transportation, etc. There's not money associated with this bill. It's a way of realigning the working relationships and the coordination among various departments within the state government. It will be one that takes a look at how we do transportation planning. The way we do transportation planning in this state and pretty much across the country is we meet with congestion in some area and a plan gets started for a new highway. And after that plan has been in the works for maybe 2 or 3 years, and you know, I don't even, how far is that by then? There's been some surveying and planning. Then we say, gee, I wonder if we could have done something different. I wonder if we could have hooked into a transit line. I wonder if we could do more sidewalks. I wonder if we could do more ways for people to bike. And so this bill says that starts at the beginning. All of those things get considered at the very beginning. And that's one of the aspects of the sustainable community. Another aspect is going to be, how are we going to finance these things? If we're going to plan for sustainable communities, then we're planning for bigger areas. It's not just a little development here and a little development there and a little development here. So it's going to require more comprehensive planning, more commitments down the road, and how do we fund that? Well, there's a mechanism called a TIF, tax increment financing, which we're getting involved in here in our county now. It's already been used in many other places, in Clarksburg, in Montgomery County, in Frederick City, and in those instances they're running into lots of problems because the ability or the permission or the legal authority to develop is given by the county, and then there's this agreement that down the road this TIF is going to kick in, but in these particular places it's not coming through, and the developers are not coming through with what is needed to do the roads, to do all of the infrastructure, and the taxpayers are stuck holding the bill. So there's going to be some more looking at that ahead of time statewide. Okay. Education. We have Ann DeLacy here, are you the head of the Howard County Teachers now? Are you, Ann? Yeah, stand up and let them see you. Oh, you're, yeah. In this time. Right. So there's something called the race to the top. And it has to do with federal stimulus money. And I think federal stimulus money can be great in all kinds of areas. I think in this tough financial time that we're in, I think we've too much bought, stimulus money, okay, everything's going to be okay. And it's, again, no easy answers. So one of the things that we're being very careful about in applying for federal stimulus money that's being called Race to the Top, I actually don't like that title. I don't like having to be the best, number one this, number one that. I mean, we're the richest county in the country, for heaven's sake. Isn't that enough? You know? I mean, there are more than 3,000 counties in the country, and we happen to be the richest. But, let's just do the best we can and not have to be the best. So at any rate, Maryland's applying for some of this money. And what we need to be very careful of, if I'm getting this right, Ann, is we need to be really careful not to tie the allocation of this stimulus money to schools where the kids are doing the best. There are several programs in Maryland where we give schools for excellence, and almost always it goes to the schools where the kids are doing the best. Now, there's something about that doesn't work. You know what I mean? So I know Ann is keeping on top of this the best she can. We're off, something I didn't tell you, we're off to a very slow start in Annapolis. One of the other side effects of the snow is the leadership canceled legislative session Monday a week ago for the first time, and I'm told 40 years in Annapolis. I haven't kept track of that. And then we went in the other days, but we canceled all the bill hearings and committees because people couldn't get down there. And if they did come down, there would have been no place for them to park. And so we're way behind. So there's a scramble now, to get caught up. So anyway, that's one thing that's happening in education. What'd you say? Yeah, there you go, race to the top. I'm not opposed to our applying for the stimulus money, by the way. I just think it's very important that we use it well. So that's one thing that's happening. PTAs also have their priorities, and so there will be things going on in education as always. Two more things, and then I'm going to open it up to you guys for questions. I forgot to mention one thing. In working on this job creation tax credit, and I'm not on the committee. I mean, Ed's in the thick of this. That's why I wished he were here. That doesn't come to the Environmental Matters Committee. But I was contacted by a Howard County resident who doesn't live in this district, but who is working on drafting the president's job creation tax credit, which is kind of interesting, and volunteering his time.
President's what?
The president's job creation tax credit, which he is also working on. Campaign financing. Supreme Court decision. Is there anybody here who didn't follow it? So if we don't already have too much money in politics, and I believe we do, then this really opens it wide up. Now, one thing that has been determined by our Attorney General, and I guess he could be challenged, is that none of this applies to state elections, that it only applies to federal elections. So that would mean our U.S. senators, our U.S. Congress people, but from the governor on down, that it will not apply. So we hope that that will hold. One of our U.S. Congress people who does not represent Howard County, he represents Montgomery County, his name's Chris Van Hollen, very bright, good guy, I believe. He is dealing with this by having a corporation file as a candidate running against him. That, okay, if a corporation is a person, and this corporation is going in and filing in the State Board of Elections to run for U.S. Congress because of I love it too. So, in Maryland, it's the campaign finance laws in Maryland apply only to corporations.